We've established two things from last time when I got way too angry about my anime mobile games. One, I really like starting sentences with the word so, and trying to find new sentence starters that flow in my style of writing is gradually driving me to insanity. And two, I love me a good rhythm game. Yeah, I know, it's another rhythm game video. Hey, sit back down! I'm the only one here educating you people. So, guys, remember when plastic instruments were the hot thing? Like, there's no way in hell you'd get drunk Uncle Steve on a DDR pad because the moment he'd see spin the disc, he'd dip out faster than his loveless marriage. But then Guitar Hero sold 1 billion trillion copies because the old-timers got the music they liked and the kids got another piece of brightly coloured plastic they could bankrupt their parents for. Just like my brother and I did all those years ago, and... I gave Guitar Hero 1 and 2 another go recently now that I know what the genre's all about, and I wasn't glued for too long. Don't worry, there's no fluff about it. Guitar Hero wasn't secretly bad the whole time, it's just not my thing. I'm bad at it, the guitar controller is weird and gives me wanker's cramp, I'm not into this gothic metal aesthetic, I don't have the rockstar fantasy like everyone else does, and the entire soundtrack of both games has like 2 good songs. Instead, if you're going to play a plastic instrument rhythm game from the Hero franchise, why don't you play the one that has a good soundtrack and good game design? We have a surprising amount of stuff to talk about today because I have bad taste and I'm petty. So here's the thing, not enough of you played DJ Hero 2. Yeah, this video is actually about DJ Hero 2. It was the first one I got invested in, it has my favourite setlist of the two. I prefer the clean club style over the grungy hip-hop aesthetic. I'm not even reviewing it as a sequel to the first game, I'm just telling you about this stupid turntable game I now love immensely. I won't lie when I say that even I'm reeling at this, because this is a recent obsession, and by recent I mean all of my footage is of me being bad at hard mode without properly calibrating the game. Are you actually kidding me right now? It was only a few weeks ago that I went, oh God, yeah, that was a thing, and I remembered it not being very good either. See, I didn't properly get into rhythm games until Demo showed its mug to me about 4 years after DJ Hero 2 came out, so when younger me played it for the first time, I dropped it faster than Guitar Hero, because I just thought, wait, whoa. It's just Guitar Hero, but you only press 3 buttons using an even lamer looking controller with mainstream pop songs I as a year 7 schoolboy must actively dislike due to the social pressures brought on by my peers. Yeah, no thank you! But younger me was wrong. Younger me was the same person who liked Beyond Two Souls, thought all JRPGs were bad, that 7th gen consoles were perfect and totally didn't melt basically anything they ran, and he thought he liked girls, so can you believe him about anything?
I legitimately think this thing is going to burn my entire house down. Why is it so fucking loud? I mean, you're a piece of shit as well, but you sound like you're gonna burn the house down.
DJ Hero has fallen into obscurity at this point because it was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but whether there was a right place or right time for this poor series to begin with is the question. It only got 2 games over a 2-year period because DJ Hero 1 didn't reach sales expectations and, yeah, DJ Hero 2 was a flop and its fate killed any hope for future iterations. On one hand, it was kind of too early because turntablism, a term I hope Wikipedia didn't just make up, was kinda niche in 2009 and 2010. Not underground and unknown, but no drunk adult or aspiring child listened religiously to Deadmau5 and Daft Punk to the point of dreaming of one day spinning disc faster than a spinal injury. It wasn't like Guitar Hero where people saw the plastic guitar and immediately wanted to have a go because everyone wanted to be a rock star. But it was too late at the same time because this era of mass market plastic instrument rhythm games was starting to decline after the whole thing got oversaturated and everyone realized how lame it got after a while. Unless your name was Taika no Tatsujin. The latest Guitar Hero in DJ Hero 2's time was Guitar Hero 6 Warriors of Rock. Now, raise your hands if you've actually played this game. I'm being fucking serious here. I legitimately thought there were only 4 mainline Guitar Hero games, including Guitar Hero Live. And that's saying a lot because Guitar Hero 6 kind of flopped too. Activision just pulled out of the entire thing because it stopped printing money. Then it came back on the off chance it would go back to printing money, but we all know how that turned out. And when you look at this backstory, you notice that very little of this sad turn of events has to do with the actual quality of DJ Hero. It's been left behind as another cash grab derivative for the pile. But after a bored afternoon of digging up my old dusty turntable, I'm playing this thing almost every day, and I think I found another entry in my hierarchy of favourite rhythm games. Bow before this objective ranking that's totally correct. No joke, when I was scouring for video ideas, whenever I thought about maybe getting notes or footage for the games I actually planned on covering, I was too busy playing DJ Hero 2 to care, so here we are. This is for all the people out there who got fucking turned into spiders.
Okay, for the record, I have not actually seen Spider-Man 3.
So yeah, DJ Hero is based around simulating turntablism. It's such an awkward fucking word to say. Using this dumb turntable controller which is mandatory to play due to a lack of standard controller bindings. You have the platter on the right with the 3 buttons and a panel on the left with your extra controls, and you can swap these around in case you're a left-handed freak, so that's neat. And that's pretty much the gist of this entire controller. The turntable does come across as a little underwhelming if you've already played Guitar Hero because of those no good 3 buttons. It makes it look like the game itself might not be that technical or fun because you're not spamming inputs to through the fire and flames. But I feel like it it accomplishes an elegant simplicity, not only because as someone who plays rhythm games on touchscreens and keyboards, a basic panel to rest my fingers flat on is a welcome way to play, but this is a different type of music we're talking about. Turntablism involves changing up existing works to make something transformative, which DJ Hero not only does with the soundtrack, mostly a list of remixes where 2 songs are combined, but it just feels really damn nice to play from how the music and mechanics weave together. Green and blue act as 2 separate audio tracks playing simultaneously, and red acts as the soundboard for additional effects. You tap to input and loop bites of the tracks, scratch as all DJs do, and the most weirdly satisfying mechanic in the world of crossfading, where the lanes the notes fly in from will shift around, so you have to flick this little switch here to balance the audio and play one of the tracks on its own. Now, let's overanalyze the shit out of it. First things first, a kind of unspoken rule in a rhythm game is effectively communicating just what role in the music the gameplay serves. What I mean by this is if the gameplay is meant to emulate an instrument or action, and what areas of the song the charting is primarily based around. You have the obvious ones like Guitar Hero following the guitar and Demo following the piano, and then you have games like Hatsune Miku Project Diva, where yes, the charting and mechanics are unconventional as you tap along to flying PlayStation symbols with a tambourine sound, but being a game about a Vocaloid mascot, the charting makes it very clear that the game predominantly wants you to focus on the vocals of the track and nothing else. And if in the event it wants you to follow a non-vocal section, it will communicate that using a different note type and only have you play sections with no vocals at all when absolutely necessary. Unless your name is Project Diva Future Tone, but that's a topic for another day. The fact that people think you're a better game than PDX. For the sake of reference, I call these singular role rhythm games. The game design is primarily based around playing along to the rhythm of one particular portion of the song, and it's consistent with every chart. That said, a rhythm game can ignore this rule by just charting whatever as long as it's timed to the song. I'd like to call these general rhythm games, like Super Beat Sonic, Voice, DDR, OS, and DJ Hero. They don't follow a part or instrument per se, they just follow the consistent and notable sections of the song that an experienced player can easily glean from sight reading the chart and keeping in time. But the risk you run by charting for a general rhythm game is inconsistent charting and poor player communication. An example of this is Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Now, this might be a little controversial, but speaking not as a fan of Persona 4, but as a fan of rhythm games, I fucking despise Persona 4 Dancing All Night. This is a general rhythm game, but very few of the rhythm patterns feel like they're taken directly from the song, and are instead just random patterns of random note types the devs came up with on a whim and tacked onto the timing, which leads to very clunky gameplay with a lot of reliance on memory, awkward pauses, and a general lack of flow. Unsure if it wants to follow the vocals, the drum beat, the choreography, or just some random pattern the team thought counted as rhythm as long as it was in time with the tempo. And keep in mind that it isn't the visuals that make the charts hard to read. The My format is fine, but it's because of the note structure and charting itself. Even if it was a falling note rhythm game, the charts would still suck because of how they work with the song. That turned into less of an analysis of DJ Hero 2 and more into just venting about how much I hate Persona 4 Dancing All Night. Christ, what a dreadful game. But you know what? For a developer that until this only worked on some buzz games, they pulled the charting and mechanics off in DJ Hero 2 gloriously. You might want to brace for impact because it's going to get full-on gush fest from here on out. Okay, right, so, from what I played of my favourite songs in the game, while I would say there are some that would have been nice to see a little hike in input complexity, like more taps here and there, the charts are still well executed without feeling convoluted or over-charted. Keep in mind, I'm not saying the game has good charts because they're easy and therefore well designed. What I mean is the game does a good job at communicating how each input and note type works with the song. It's kind of hard to explain, but every input on the turntable basically has its own consistent purpose and function in the song, which not only makes the charting consistent, but it just feels really damn nice to play. While there are some singular role rhythm games I love, one of the main reasons I like playing a really well-designed general rhythm game is I just get sucked into the gameplay way more and find it insanely satisfying to play to the entire song. I kinda like to imagine that I'm the song's puppet master rather than a performer, the one-man band that's putting everything together on the spot, embracing its energy and bending it to my will. Yes, rhythm games can be a power fantasy and it's intoxicating. You know when you see those music videos where the performer's dancing and there's just neon lights and apparitions appearing hearing as the music plays, that's kind of the rush of energy I get when I play a rhythm game like this that makes it feel truly special when the mechanics are done so right. The footage is showing basic charts and some shaky ass hands tapping buttons, but the party's going on in here, and it's because of how the charting and mechanics are executed that I can see being a DJ in the same kind of ambitious wonderment that Guitar Hero players possess when they close their eyes and imagine they're up on stage with Keith Richard or whoever the fuck millennials like these days. But to be fair, I kinda dress like a shitty discount DJ you'd find in a Bristol nightclub, so that might have something to do with it. This is just amped up more with the freestyle sections, where the red lane will give you a portion of time to play sound effects in any rhythmic pattern you want as you pull the chart off. The green and blue lanes let you crossfade at will, or the green and blue audio filtering can be changed with the dial on the turntable. It feels like your music that you have an impact in. Even when playing Project Diva or Taiko no Tatsujin, one of the most satisfying parts of playing is both managing the chart and freely spamming away hit sounds in your own special rhythmic pattern. It kind of feels like a post-game award to yourself to show how far you've come with the chart, and the fact that DJ Hero has dedicated mechanics to it kind of blows me away despite how small and optional of an implementation it is. And we can't forget how the presentation works into this. I can't exactly compare it to Guitar Hero because the only two I played are from a generation earlier where technical limitations were a thing.
At least my PS2 doesn't sound like it's going to murder my entire family.
But I feel like while they could have just shown a stage and some people jumping around, they went the extra mile with unique direction as you play. The color correction to reflect the mood of the song, the dancers, the close-up shots of your DJ and the crowd getting into the groove, and post-production to reflect loops and effects that occur in the music. Even if you see the occasional reused animation or effect, it still feels directed around the music, which makes it more fun to play. And lastly, while we're here gushing, the turntable controller itself and managing its inputs. I feel like a lot of people really underestimate movement when playing rhythm games. Like, they think just hitting a couple of buttons will get the job done if it's not a game primarily around physically moving like DDR and Just Dance, but honestly, having your player pull off a variety of gestures and movements as they play can make the gameplay more gratifying and involving, even if it's hopping between buttons, slamming down two at the same time, or swiping violently. Moving your body to music is still fun, even outside of games about dancing. Play it campy enough, and using the turntable controller in DJ Hero feels like a dance of its own as you scratch the record and flick the crossfader side to side. It makes you really want to jam along, and I don't feel like I can sit still without getting super into it. Think about it, I haven't even gone over that much of the strictly mechanical stuff like stars, hit accuracy, euphoria multipliers, or even rewinds. Yeah, you can earn the ability to rewind the track by doing well. The game is just that fun to play from getting lost in the chart that all of the other areas can take a back seat, and it still feels involving. Contrary to popular belief, game feel is extremely goddamn important to making a rhythm game experience truly memorable. You can't just chuck a load of songs onto a playlist, have some notes fall down and call it a day, and it's the games that have the strongest mechanics and presentation to channel that soundtrack's energy that rank high for me. But oh yeah, music game and all that, which means soundtrack, and I don't know what you guys expected from me. As I've told you already, well-crafted game design can even make a rhythm game with the worst music feel fun to play, but it's a good thing DJ Hero 2 doesn't have the worst, because a lot of these tracks are just bops. They slap. They make me wanna jive! Save for a few remixes, most of this setlist consists of mixing two songs together, and at the end of the day I want to give a firm handshake to the man or woman who combined Pitbull with the Pussycat Dolls and made an absolute banger. One of the main reasons I love the soundtrack is just the general variety of it. What makes a diverse soundtrack so great is it means you're more likely to stick with the game if a couple of songs aren't your thing, or open you up to genres that you didn't like initially. And you've got a lot of hip-hop, house, even some 70s pop, why the hell not? Everything's gonna get mashed together anyway. And it's so masterfully put together that I'd honestly say it's iPod worthy and can be looped over and over. For me, it's just how unpredictably good a lot of the mixes can be when they contain songs I have no love for and make something truly amazing. I'm not much of a hip-hop person, and I don't think I've properly listened to a Bruno Mars song all the way through, but next thing I know, one of my most played songs is California Love vs. Nothing on You, a catchy but also really moody track that swells at just the right moments, and combined with the presentation and mechanical stuff I went over earlier, it just feels really damn nice. There are obviously some tracks I don't like, or just simply don't bother to play, but again, because the charts feel feels so fun and satisfying to play and the mixes are so well done. Even if I don't enjoy much of the source material, it's still going down as one of my favourite rhythm game OSTs. Even if I only liked a handful of songs in this game, it'd still be worth it due to how unbelievable the good tracks are. DJ Hero 2 walked up to me one day and said, "Hey Joe, you know that one Stevie Wonder song and that one Edwin Starr song, both you think are just okay but wouldn't voluntarily listen to because they sound a bit lacking compared to what you usually like? Well, what if I just spliced both of them into the best track in the entire game, a pumping climactic mix where even your DJ looks super into it and you won't stop looping it for fucking days?" Yeah, sure, fuck it. I said whoa! What's your patient hand? Say it again. Let me know your problem. Do all that you can. Listen to me. So, DJ Hero 2's alright, I guess. I don't really know if you can tell, but I really like DJ Hero 2. You should give it a go as soon as you can, and if you've got the setup for it, don't forget to head into the settings and make sure Dolby Digital's on for a good time. Chances are I may have just overblown everything completely due to the rush I get playing this game, but even if after playing it you're not fully convinced, you have to admit it's still a well put together rhythm game with tons of songs, versus modes, karaoke, Ross Vader's gorgeous facial hair, and Stevie Wonder and Edwin Starr screaming at each other. But what exactly about it led to its quiet demise? Well, if anything, my feelings before and after playing DJ Hero kinda remind me of Frequency and Amplitude. These two are rhythm games developed by Harmonix, initial developer of the Guitar Hero series, both of which weren't really financial successes, and fuck, I haven't played them either. As you've most likely heard in the Did You Know Gaming video on Guitar Hero, the problem Frequency and Amplitude ran into was that while the games were well received and focus testers did enjoy the game, their intent to purchase the games mostly came from after already playing them and having their mechanics explained to them. What made Guitar Hero and other music games like SingStar work for so long is they were an immediately understandable concept that the general audience actively sought after. Guitar Hero was an immensely popular franchise because people want to play imaginary guitar and pretend they're a rock star while embracing their shit music taste. Charting, mechanics, and game feel are not something you can sell a game to a mass market with, and were only a point of discussion after the game's fanbase had already been built from this casual build-up. DJ Hero was a rhythm game based on an instrument that the general audience of its time didn't understand, probably didn't think was an instrument in the first place, weren't exactly itching to pretend to play and fantasize about, and most of the game's high points were only apparent once you knew about it and its mechanics, which is understandable because I went into this game not knowing what turntablism was and expecting it to be shit. But at the same time, it's a crying shame, because I can only dream of where the series could have gone if it wasn't tied to being a Guitar Hero derivative made to sell to those who think the beginning and end of a rhythm game is pretending you're playing an instrument. That's one of my interpretations, at least, as to why rhythm games are generally a niche and small-scale genre. They're kind of a slow burn that requires experiencing for yourself rather than a blockbuster that looks immediately attractive. What makes games truly special is they're a medium that merges other mediums together, music, film, and what have you, with the added depth of player input and interactivity to make the experience more intimate. I love music, and the rhythm game is, in my opinion, an expansion on how we listen to and consume music. It adds a new dimension to our favourite tracks to put us in a state of raw energy, excitement, and overflowing emotions. And it takes a lot more to make a well-crafted rhythm game you want to play for hours and hours than just having some songs you know and making some notes fall down with button presses like it's just a bunch of QuickTime events. It wasn't your time, DJ Hero. Whether or not it would have been your time for a while is the question because it wasn't your audience either. But one thing we're sure of is that you're a damn good game that everyone should try as soon as possible. And I'll just be squatting here in the damn corner until DJ Hero Live gets announced one day. The second game with the turntable is like £20 on Amazon, guys, come on!